we went overseas after 9/11. Everyone was scared, and we went downrange and attacked the terrorism at its source to stop it from coming here. And so everyone should be proud of that service and get behind us.
People died for Australia's safety, so that we could have freedom, so that we could enjoy the prosperity we see around us. And people need to remember that. They need to nod their hat to that and acknowledge it.
Last week I caught up with an Australian war veteran and a filmmaker who have teamed up to create something powerful at a time when our national heroes are being smeared by some who should know better as child killers and war criminals. These two are telling a story of pride, a story every Australian needs to hear.
Brave and Betrayal is the story by the SAS veterans themselves, the widows, the families, the Prime Ministers, Kevin Rudd, Tony Abbott, John Howard, and also the American pilots who bravely flew our special forces into battle in Afghanistan. It's their story of what happened over there, what they saw with their own eyes and what they experienced.
And what is that story, if you had to summarise it?
That story is one of bravery. So after 9/11, we were all scared. You have to be honest about that. Everyone thought that there was going to be terrorist attacks against Australia on Australian soil. And then we saw Bali, Barcelona, Paris Bataclan, London, and so on. And these guys, the SAS and the ADF, commandos, they were sent into harm's way to protect us, and they did a damn good job. Very fair job. They always had legal eyes on them from within the ADF and otherwise. And they did smash terror cells over there, and they also did try their best to fight for the Afghani people and to make Afghanistan a place that was a good place to live. 20 years down the track, people forgot the fear they felt after 9/11. And, there was awards to be won or whatever the motivation may have been. And sadly, Australia turned against these guys. And no one was telling their story. And a couple of the guys, interestingly enough from the Navy, actually reached out to me and said, this story needs to be told.
I'm one of the guys that went downrange and served a nation, multiple tours, Afghanistan and East Timor. And, I met Simon, the director of the film, so he's part of the media, usually the enemy, but we met, introduced through a mutual friend, Drew Chilcott, who's no longer with us. He came off his motorbike a couple of years ago. And Simon and I kind of sized each other up, and he was aware of there was this issue of ongoing war crimes, allegations, and that's all it is, by the way. Only one guy's been charged, and by the way, it's not Ben Robert Smith. So it's a buddy of mine, and he may go to trial 2027. At the moment, he's got to front up for bail every week, and so we're seeing what that does to him. It does have a mental health impact, because you got that sword of Damocles essentially hanging over your head, and then seeing what it does to those guys and their families and the kids. And so you got kids coming home from school being teased that your dad's a murderer, he's a war criminal, he's a child killer. And so this is going to have an impact, mental health, on generations. And so the longer it goes on, the greater the mental health impact. And so the government knows this, and we're coming up to 10 years since the Brent report now. So that inspired us to get together and go, let's come out of the shadows, because normally we don't do this, but we decided we're going to have to say something, and so now here we are with a film.
It wasn't a huge task for me, in all truth. We had a really, really great team, and a lot of it was just the hard work of the guys themselves and the families, like I said, the widows and the children of those who were lost. They really put the hard yards in, and this story now stands as a testament to the bravery of the Aussies who went into harm's way when called.
I joined up back in '93. As a kid, all I wanted to do was join the army. I was running around sticks, playing armies, always just wearing greens, following around my grandfather, who was a highly decorated World War II veteran. I was just like his little shadow. He was my idol growing up. And so eventually I joined the military. I went to 3rd Battalion, Royal Australian Regiment, who was parachute battalion at the time. I then joined Commandos, did some tours with them at Timor, and then went to SAS. And so I did a tour of a couple of times in East Timor, and then multiple tours of Afghanistan. Even created a dog capability, so I raised that capability for Special Operations Command, handed it back over to Commandos, and then even became a patrol commander in the SAS. So that was almost my dream, and I actually exceeded my dreams because I just joined Special Forces, but did so much more. So I encourage young people to join up, to be honest, because we need good people to serve the nation, to stand on the walls while we all sleep at night. I had 2 steel hips put in late 2014, and then got medically discharged in late 2015. I did some contracting stuff, but I went into that old spiral downhill, and there's no secrets about this. I've spoken about it before in public, that substance abuse, all that sort of stuff, and all of these things coming up in the media were just like grinding me down, and the incompatibility between warrior culture, which is what we served with and where all our buddies were, to the culture and society. And I think most people will agree it's not healthy. Whereas a warrior culture, it's actually shame-based, where you don't want to let your mates down. I don't want to let the team down. I've got to do better. And so we're always striving to keep up. And a good operator is not always going to be the fastest, not always going to be the best shot, not always the strongest. He's going to be the guy that's there for your buddies. And so that's, people say, how do you keep going back time and time again? Well, it's not about me. It's about, I don't want to let mates down. However, that shame also grinds you down. You can try and grind yourself into the ground. You forget self-care, and then you come back from Afghanistan for serving the nation, and then you see the state of affairs here. I did that for this. When I talk about shame, we know what we're talking about when we say that guy's got no shame. They're shameless, and this is what I see in society: the descent into hedonism and excess and plenty and comfort, as well as neglect of your military, and also the neglect of your police. And obviously they're not doing themselves any favours either. You've seen that firsthand yourself. But the hierarchy, and so my other half, she's in the fireys. I see the shit they get put on them, and so when we start to neglect those basic social services, the people that serve our nation, nurses as well. A couple of nurses in my family. This is end of empire stuff, and so then that incompatibility, you come back and you just don't fit in, and that's where a lot of the issues come from.
When you say Australia has turned on them, in what way do you mean?
In fact, that's the wrong term. I do correct myself there. Australia didn't turn on them. A very, very small amount of people decided to have an attack at the SAS, the Commandos, and our ADF. And who knows why? Perhaps it was glory, perhaps it was money that they decided, perhaps it was a personal animosity. You can't guess what's going on inside people's heads. But 99% of Australia, and I can say that because this film's now screened to thousands of people across Australia, from Perth to Townsville, Hobart to Darwin. And people come up to us in tears after the screening, and they shake our hand, they hug us, and they say, thank you for telling this story. So 99% of Aussies are behind them. There's a small percentage, who knows what their motivation was, but they wanted to bring down our ADF.
Where can people go and watch this film?
If you simply type in Bravery and Betrayal into Google, you'll see that you can see this film on Amazon Prime. You can buy the DVD. You can go into your local JB Hi-Fi and buy the DVD. It's going to go on to Apple, so you can also Google it on Apple or look it up on Apple and download the film there. And also, I think, on paid YouTube, you can go there and download the film. But I think Amazon Prime's probably the easiest, or going into your local JB Hi-Fi and buying the DVD. And I'd suggest getting the DVD so you can show the kids and the grandkids, and you can explain to them or show them why they should be damn proud of Australia's diggers.
Why do you think people should watch this film?
So it'll reinvigorate your national pride. And so we see in America, thank you for your service, what they do with their veterans, but it's patriotism. It'll reinvigorate that patriotism. So you can go out on Australia Day and hold your flag up and be proud of it, not worry about getting slandered or called a racist or anything like that. We want to bring national pride back, that we reinvigorate that Anzac spirit and that pride in your service.
People need to remember that what the SAS and the Commandos and all the Aussie ADF did over there is a continuation of the Anzac tradition. We've now shown this film at over 100 locations across Australia to thousands, tens of thousands of everyday Aussies, some from the richest parts of Australia, some from outback little communities. And they all say the same thing, which is we knew they were doing a good job. Thank you for telling their story. Thank you for allowing their story to be told. We knew they were good guys, good men and good women in the ADF. And the widows appreciate the fact that their husband's bravery now is remembered. The children do as well. And people need to honour that. People died for Australia's safety, so that we could have freedom, so that we could enjoy the prosperity we see around us. And people need to remember that. They need to nod their hat to that and acknowledge it. And by coming and seeing the film, it's an incredible sign of respect to our veterans and to those who served.
We went overseas after 9/11. Everyone was scared, and we went downrange and attacked the terrorism at its source to stop it from coming here. And so everyone should be proud of that service and get behind us.
As a filmmaker, is this one of your best pieces of work?
I feel enormously blessed. I feel humbled, because when someone comes up to you and you get teary thinking about it, but when someone comes up to you and they hug you and they say thank you, and that's the daughter or the little sister or the widow or the son or the father of someone who died in Afghanistan, you realise that it's a huge honour, and that's why I really think the film belongs to Australia now. It's not my film, it's not the production's film. This is a film that Aussies paid for in donations, and it now belongs to Australia.
If you enjoyed this report, make sure to like, comment, share, then head over and watch the film. Support it, share it, let people know about it. And if you haven't done so already, head to followavi.com and follow me across all socials so you never miss a thing. followavi.com.